semiconductors to pharma to IT hardware. Many schemes have seen traction and investments also starting to come in. Joining me now for a status check on various PLI schemes as well as the road ahead is Rajesh Kumar Singh, the DPIIT Secretary. Mr. Singh, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Let me start by asking you whether there is any plan at this point in time to bring more sectors under the PLI scheme. Is that a consideration at all for the government today?
Shireen, good to be with you. No, we don't plan to bring in new sectors as of now. What we are concentrating on right now is ensuring that the 14 sectors across 10 departments that are currently under implementation, those PLI schemes should get implemented successfully. And thereafter, one can look at those options, but as of now, no.
Okay, so as of now, no new PLI, but is there any plan or any consideration being given to enhance the incentives under some of the existing schemes? For instance, we are given to understand that drone manufacturers are seeking for an enhancement of incentives. It was a small PLI scheme of about 250 crores. Is that an option of enhancing existing schemes?
Shireen, the possibility of making changes in the some of these ongoing schemes to ensure enhanced implementation or better implementation is an ongoing process. We do engage in consultations on those, but I'm not in a position to mention the details right now. But yes, this is an ongoing process, and wherever required, such tweaking of the PLI schemes to ensure improved implementation or improved offtake will be done.
Sir, if I could ask you to give us a little more color on where you believe that more tweaking may perhaps be required. You know, the last PLI scheme that the government notified was the one to do with IT hardware, and that saw a fair degree of back and forth before we finally now have seen about 20 plus odd players apply under the PLI scheme. Could you let me know at this point in time, given the feedback from various stakeholders, which are the schemes where you believe more changes or tweaks are required?
I don't want to specify the sectors because really that is a part of the interministerial consultation process, but I can tell you there are some 4 or 5 sectors where we think that some tweaking may be required to ensure the better results, and that process is well underway right now.
Okay, so 4 or 5 sectors, and by when do you expect that the proposed changes that you intend to bring in will be notified? Will that be in this financial year itself?
We expect to do that in this financial year. That is all I can say, but I cannot give any timelines because, as you know, these interministerial consultation processes have their own, weight, and it's very difficult to sort of tell in advance when it will be completed.
Fair enough, sir. Let me ask you about, a conversation that I had with the Minister of State for IT and ITES, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, over the weekend, and he said that there was plans at this point in time for the government to consider an incentive scheme for the AI ecosystem, similar, but not similar in quantum to what we've seen as far as the semiconductor space is concerned. Is the DPIIT also part of the conversations on being able to put together this package for the AI ecosystem?
DPIIT does coordinate all of the PLI schemes. This particular scheme that you are mentioning, which may be on the anvil, may be part of the internal consultations within MIT as of now. It has not been brought to our notice as yet.
Okay. Mr. Singh, let me ask you then to give us a status check of your own assessment of the department's assessment of the 14 schemes that are currently in operation. There has, of course, been varied experience across different sectors, very, very different sectors to start with. So if you can give us a status check of the schemes that you believe have done well, the schemes that you believe have shown the most promise at this point in time.
So let me say that in these 14 sectors that I'm talking about so far, we've received across all of these sectors some 746 applications for PLI. These involve an investment of almost 3.65 lakh crores, out of which so far investment of 1.03 lakh crores has already come in across these 14 schemes. Actual production / sales has already reached about 8.6 lakh crores. Actual employment has reached 6.78 lakh persons. The beauty of the scheme, incidentally, is that so far we've actually disbursed from government coffers only about 2,900 odd crores. The beauty of the scheme is that the government's disbursements are back-ended, whereas the investments have to come in first and the incentives will follow thereafter. As a result, if you look at it in net present value terms in particular, this is a scheme whereby we are ensuring that we really get more bang out of the buck whenever we invest, whenever we release money. We ensure that investment first comes in, employment is generated, factories start functioning, and only thereafter does the question of disbursement really arise.
Okay, so you've given us a lot of headlines, Mr. Singh. But 647 applications across the 14 different PLI schemes. The disbursal that the government has done so far.
746 schemes.
Yeah. 746. Thank you for making that correction. So, Mr. Singh, let me then ask you about some of the other proposals that seem to be under consideration at this point in time, and they're not specifically linked to any particular PLI scheme. What we're given to understand is that the government is looking at the electric mobility scheme in its entirety and looking at how India can position itself. And as part of that conversation, the possibility of bringing down import duties for a specified period of time, allowing companies like Tesla, etc., to set up domestic manufacturing here. What is the DPIIT's position, if any, on an issue like this, where import duties could be brought down for a certain period of time before domestic manufacturing were to start?
Ensuring that electrical vehicles penetration in India goes up, particularly for four-wheelers, beyond the 1% penetration that exists right now, is important for the country from the point of view of its energy transition. We are working on various measures to improve this penetration through both demand and supply side measures. The aspects that you mentioned about reducing import duties, etc., these are issues on which we would not be in a position to discuss until things are finalized. As of now, these are really in the realm of very informal discussions, and therefore we are not in a position to really comment on the specifics of what we can offer or not offer until any deals actually get finalized.
Now, I appreciate that, but if I don't expect you to tell me the quantum of the cuts, etc., being considered, but in principle, do you believe that it is a fair ask on the part of companies like Tesla, a fair ask of the Indian government by companies like Tesla to request that there be a cut in import duties for a certain period of time before they start domestic manufacturing? Do you believe that that's a legitimate ask?
I mean, it's not for me to designate any particular ask as legitimate or not. The more important issue is that Government of India never does, schemes that are curated for any particular company. Whatever we do will be done in a transparent manner for all applicants in that particular category. It will not be limited to any company-specific mandates at all. And our intention, therefore, is that even if we come up with any specific policy incentives, it will be open for all, and we will always try to ensure that it creates a level playing field for all entrants and for prospective entrants as far as that particular sector of the industry is concerned.
that point is well taken. It won't be specific to a specific company, but it will be for all. But you said that informal talks are currently underway. Could you leave us with any sense of timing by when we could expect a decision one way or the other on this front, on electric mobility specifically?
No, we are not in a position to give timelines on this as yet. These are ultimately, these are commercial decisions on the part of companies as well. So we really wouldn't be able to give any timelines. But yeah, I mean, we are looking at all options for, including kind of a comprehensive end-to-end elements of a policy to enhance EV penetration in the country. But no, timelines are not, something that we can offer for you right now.
Fair enough. Mr. Singh, let me understand from you on the back of the conversations that you are specifically having with global investors, with government officials from outside of India, on what the level of interest is and where do you believe we will continue to see momentum on the FDI front in the context of the supply chain de-risking, supply chain diversification trend that's playing out, which India is a beneficiary of today?
I think India is and continues to be one of the most preferred FDI destinations worldwide. There has been a slight dip in FDI this year for reasons that are fairly obvious because of increased geopolitical risk as well as some of the monetary tightening that the developed economies have experienced. We feel that is a temporary blip. The long-term India growth story is so strong that I'm sure the trend rates of FDI inflows will continue to be largely in our favor. In the last 9 years, we've, I think, almost 65% of the cumulated FDI that has come into this country has come in the last 9 years. So yes, we are very bullish on India, and we feel most of the world is bullish as well. And the trend of de-risking from our supply chains, going into more trusted geographies, is going to continue, and India will be one of those very, very trusted geographies for supply chain shifting as far as foreign investors are concerned.
In terms of specific feedback, Mr. Singh, that you may have got from foreign investors as well as domestic investors, whether it be the PLI scheme or with their ability to, to invest more either in greenfield projects or incremental investments, are there any specific issues, especially in the sectors like, mobile, as well as IT hardware, etc., that the government is looking at addressing at this point in time to remove any possible friction or any possible pain points that may have been expressed?
Okay, so in general, most investors, both domestic and foreign, who come to us are concerned about three aspects generally, although they all greatly appreciate the strides India has made in terms of ease of doing business, not only at the federal level, but also at the state level. Their concerns are primarily around three categories. One is, of course, environmental clearance can sometimes be a delay. Land is sometimes an issue, although not always. In many cases, the states are able to ensure that they get a smooth landing. And finally, in some cases, there are concerns relating to taxation. These are the three broad categories where they sometimes have concerns. Most of these we try to address through our investment facilitation agencies like Invest India and through our conversations with the state governments. But yes, these are broadly the kind of areas where there is some concern expressed from time to time.
Let me end by asking you, Mr. Singh, we're almost closing out 2023. What would you mark as the milestones? If you were to do a report card for the DPIIT, what would you mark as the key milestones for 2023 for the year gone by? And more importantly, what would you prioritize for the year ahead?
I think for me, the key milestone is that worldwide, India is now the story. There is a recognition that this is where the story is. There is a fear in many investors that they will miss out if they don't invest in India. That is the big headline. In addition, through some of our PLI schemes, particularly on mobiles, for example, we really made a headway where we are ensuring exports of almost $1 billion a month in terms of mobiles exports. And similarly, in many other areas under the PLI scheme, which are not so well known, in areas of pharma and pharmaceuticals and medical devices, India is now producing medicines and producing medical devices that it has never done in its history before. So these are some of the milestones that we are doing, but there's a lot more to come, so watch this space.
If you can give us a quick glimpse of what we should be watching out for before I let you go, Mr. Singh.
I think you'll find that in many areas where we are currently largely importing finished products, as we start building a wider manufacturing base with a lot of vendors and component manufacturers coming up within this country, you'll find that there is an overall trend towards increasing domestic value addition in many of the PLI sectors, less reliance on imports from outside, particularly of finished products, and in general, hopefully, we will start seeing some improvement in our very abysmal share of manufacturing in our GDP, which is stuck below even agriculture at around 15%. We need to bump it up, and I think in the coming 1 or 2 years, that bump is going to be seen.
Well, yes, you're right in pointing out that we've been stuck in that range for long now, and the aspiration has been 20% plus. And as you point out, perhaps we will see that inflection point over the next 2 or 3 years. Mr. Singh, always a pleasure. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC-TV18 to give us a status check of the various PLI schemes that are currently in operation, and more importantly, what the priority areas will be for the DPIIT in the new year. Appreciate your time here on CNBC-TV18.